next 30 minutes. I am joined by Ms. Okubo, who is in a blended family, Mumbi, who is a...
Although I'm not in a blended family.
Yeah, he's double M.
Yes.
He's a marriage counselor and a counseling psychologist. And then we have Caroline Gaiduma, a life coach. We've had her on the set before, but today she's here as a family woman. And before we went on the break, we had 3 callers. I think we've addressed the first, Dennis's issue. Now let's look at Dennis, number 2, who said that he recently discovered his pregnant girlfriend had HIV and akajitwa kwa hiyo story. And I think his call is probably out of guilt. This is my opinion. Maybe he's thinking, I might have left my child alone with this lady. You know, am I a cruel person and so on and so forth. So Caroline, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for him to call about an issue that he says is over, there must be some leftover on his part. And probably it's because he's not sure whether the child is his or not, or he just wants to process this and figure out what would somebody else think about this.
Yes.
But then you see, there is you and there is your partner. Your experience is your own experience. You always see the world through your own eyes, not through anybody else's eyes. And so what you can do is probably say thank you that you are not infected, but then also understand from where she's coming from. Because sometimes, and I've seen this happen, sometimes you get into you end a relationship and then you get into another one, only to realize that you're pregnant from the previous relationship.
Wow.
And you realize that later, maybe at a DNA test, because probably the relationships overlapped. Overlapped, yes. That's the word, yeah. So anything could happen, and we always want to give people the benefit of doubt.
True.
Not to always think that people are out to get you.
Right.
You know, so probably that's what happened to her. Like, just think about it in a way that empowers you, instead of a way that disempowers you.
Right.
And just, if you can get a DNA test just to confirm and put yourself at ease to confirm if this is your child, go ahead and do it. And if it's your child, take care of your child.
Mbugua, I feel like you have a different opinion.
Not quite. In fact, I like the way Carol has really explained this. Yeah. There must be a reason that this guy was attracted to this lady before he came to detect or realize that she has HIV.
Right.
And they went to an extent of having a sexual intercourse.
Right.
And then later this girl is like head capped. And I think the questions, and I know this is a very complex situation, absolutely complex situation. In fact, I'm asking myself, if I was that guy, how would I respond to this situation? And I think it is still very important to appreciate that this lady requires support, especially moral support, more than ever before.
Right.
And I think it would be very important, like Carol has said, to try and establish that whether this is my baby, this is my child.
Yes.
Because first and foremost, if it is my child, then I am the father to this child.
Right.
And I really need to take responsibility. Number 2, like we've said before, fatherhood being a destiny of a child. So to a large extent, have a role and a part to play in respect to the destiny, charting the destiny of this child. Okay. I may not get married to this lady for whatever, probably for obvious reasons. But I think if I just leave her,
you're causing more harm than
good. And I think at this moment in her life, she requires a lot of support from us, from people, because of the situation she is in. If I just desert her like this, I think itakuwa ni noma sana. So even though I may not marry her, I think I need to extend some level of moral support to her. In any case, it's something good I had seen in her before. Supposing I'm the one who's been diagnosed of HIV, how would I want people Okuba to support me and respond to my situation?
So, Mrs. Okubo, let's talk about Ibra. Ibra was saying that in the comment that he made during the call, he feels as though, you know, these women who are coming into his life are questioning if there's still a relationship between himself and his baby mama. Let's call them what, because that's what we use in the streets, baby mama.
Baby mama.
Yeah, so anafikiria kuna kitu nafanyika na baby mama.
No, let me tell you, I think the minute you come into this blended family, the first thing is to tell the truth that you have a child out of wedlock. And I like it because Ibra communicated the same to the partner or to the wife. But where we go wrong is that, I mean, Ibra as the father has to support this child.
Right.
Support through finances, support through moral, depending on how old the child is.
He needs to be physically there.
He needs to be there for this child. Even as this child is growing to whatever, until maybe 18 and past, he needs to be there.
Right.
So from the beginning, as you get into this marriage, you need to let your wife know that I'm supporting my child. And this does not mean that you have a relationship with the other partner. That's where we go wrong, Africans, especially Africans. I see it different with the white people, because the white people, they divorce, they move on. But believe you me, they have put a schedule. Of this weekend of this month, I have to spend time with my children. And it's just normal. I mean, they don't have issues. But with Africans, we have issues.
Ibra, anaona hapa manze kamenuka. Every girl lazima ulize. Is it something maybe Ibra does? Maybe he's too close to his baby mama?
Maybe. We will never know. But then, another discussion that needs to happen is disclosure on the level of your relationship with your other partner, and also setting boundaries now, especially for the two relationships, so that this relationship that is outside there knows that these are the boundaries. And this relationship that is with your marriage partner knows that these are the boundaries that I have, because you can't have people walking all over in each other's space and expect no conflict. There's always going to be conflict. So maybe the guy, Ibra, is not conscious of boundaries. He's not conscious about to what extent should he relate with his baby mama in the presence of his girlfriend.
Maybe Ibra still calls the baby mama babe
on the phone,
or maybe amemsave kwa simu kama sweet.
Or like calls that are not relating to the child are happening. You see. So, and then there's also this dynamic that we have that is very dangerous. I was talking about transactional relationship. We think that relationship is about ownership. I own you, you own me. And that's not it. When it's
but
about,
I call you my babe, my wife, my girlfriend,
and that's
my boo.
that's different. No, you can't own anybody. Even your children are not yours. So if you decide to own somebody, what happens with that sense of ownership? Then you bring in the sense of control. Exactly. And when you're trying to control, and that's why you'll see, even I can use my son to try and control my husband, where he's seeming not, you know, I can use that to control he can use my child to control me. You see?
Yes.
Anaweza niambia wewe, you know, I won't do this for this child
until
because
you do ABCD.
You see? So let's remove transaction, let's remove ownership, let's remove control from relationships.
All right. She's mentioning about control, and sometimes a lot of people right now, I'm sure, and there's someone who's actually, people are in this situation where you find that you cannot have a relationship with your current, you know, girlfriend or wife because your ex baby mama or your baby mama is bringing drama because they are thinking, hapana, uko na karo atumiza mtoto, uko na karo nilileta mtoto jana, mtoto amekuja na vidonda. Like we need to discuss that, because I'm sure that a lot of questions are coming through social media. But Charles, good morning, sir. How are you doing? Hello, Charles.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Talk to me, bro.
Okay, swali langu lilikuwa nauliza kama ni vizuri kumpatia mtoto nickname.
Kama ni vizuri kupatia mtoto nini?
Nickname akiwa kwa shule. Kama inaweza kumwaffect kwa njia yoyote.
Okay.
Nilienda shuleni nikapeleka mtoto. Nikasikia walimu wanamuita nickname.
Okay.
Na hiko nifurahisha.
Na hiyo nickname ni nickname mbaya ama ni mzuri?
Walimuita Abunuwasi.
Abunuwasi?
Wow.
Okay. Sawa. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
All right. We have Ombwenya on the line. Good morning, Ombwenya.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
How is Nairobi? Where you are? Kuna jua, kuna joto ama bado uko kitandani ujui?
Kuna baridi hivi.
Okay, sawa. What is your question or comment?
Nilikuwa na story yangu. I've been a relationship for quite a number of years, like 8 years.
Okay.
Nimekuwa issues na hapa na pale, lakini nimejaribu solve na my roles.
Yes.
Lakini it's not going through. Halafu niko na issues zingine, naenda kuongea na relationship expert.
Yes.
Lakini unapata kama niko financial law, unapata wengine na kuchache na kuambia unataka tuongee. Alawa na kutaka kulipisha pesa fulani, lakini sasa imekalia ngumu kiasi.
Pole sana.
Sasa hata nimefungulia hivyo nimefurahia sana kusikiza hiyo mawaidha yenu hapo.
Okay.
Labda naweza ni advise 1-3 things naweza fanya nini next time at least na mimi saidike.
All right, Ombwenya, thank you for your question. Tutakusort in a minute. We also have a gentleman from Kirinyaga. Joshua, good morning.
Morning, Buvi.
How are you doing, sir?
I can't complain.
You're sounding so enthusiastic. Umekunywa kahawa ama kuna kitu ingine?
I actually have a mug of coffee on my table.
Ah, nice. Mimi na wewe we're on the same boat. Talk to me.
Sasa, allow me to contribute on the debate.
Please do.
There's something I've realized that we Kenyans have when it comes to our problems. And looking at the topic of discussion today on how to integrate in a blended family.
Yes.
You realize that people have so many problems.
Yeah.
You also realize that people get themselves in too many problems and complexities. And then when things are not working or seemingly when things appear to be faltering, Kenyans have found an easier way of thinking that maybe our problems will be solved by some of these platforms.
Right.
Or at times maybe trying to compare and borrow a leaf from other people who have had similar experiences.
Yes.
My advice to my fellow Kenyans is this. Number one, the best solution to avoid any problem is to avoid it completely. And number two, when you realize that you are in a situation that probably you may not have too many answers to or solutions to,
yes,
the best way is to avoid it. And finally, no two situations are similar. Every case, every experience is unique.
Yes.
So I think people should find solutions to their own unique problems and not trying to make it look like it's a generalized thing. Thank you very much, Mbuvi.
Thank you very much, Joshua from Kirinyaga. Joshua has some very nice points there. He has said the best thing to do is avoid something completely. Absolutely. But I'm afraid of that avoiding completely because it might mean escape responsibility, change your phone lines, harm accounting, yeah. So, but I like the fact that kapa ukianza kunusa shida mapema, ni vizuri ukijitoa. But there's a gentleman who called in the first time from Meru, and he said, that was Charles, he said that he found out that the child has the nickname Abu Nwasi.
From the teachers.
Well, okay, it's not a laughing matter, but I mean, Mbugwa, Abu Nwasi.
Thank you very much for that question. As human beings, we all look up to people who can be good role models in our lives. And people, especially people, even us, at our own age, all of us, we're looking up to people who are ahead of us. They are where we desire to be tomorrow or in future. And one of the things that we try to do is to find out what is their character, what do they do, what has made them reach where they are. And we would want to imitate or copy some of their behaviors that have contributed to their success.
Right.
Therefore, similarly, and for example, and I wouldn't mind being associated or referred to or nicknamed to that person who is already an icon of success or role model in the family.
Funny person.
Which means the flip side of that is that, again, if I get to be associated with somebody whose character is not good, certainly that would also affect my own character. Very important. So I think, and this is very important, we need to associate ourselves and even our children with people who can be good role models in their lives. We certainly do not understand the context under which the teachers were calling this child Abu Nwasi.
Right.
I don't know whether it is his or her character, but I think it is very, very important for us parents and role models like teachers to ensure that we are using the right narratives that can empower, that can motivate and inspire the good character or behavior in our people. That's what I would say.
All right. And then there's a second caller. This one again, I'll just throw it to you, not necessarily to answer, but he sounded really depressed and he was saying that he needs some counseling. And I think now that we have a counselor on set, he shall be sharing his details a bit later because he really sounded really down.
And that was about addiction, isn't it?
Yeah, and he needs someone to talk to.
I can only mention one or two things, and I'm sure Caro and Dorika will appreciate that. Number one, it's good to appreciate that our behavior, because addiction is a behavior, our behavior is not our nature.
True.
It's not genetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not something you are born with. It's not how God created you. Our behavior is something that we acquired from the environment. And that which is acquired, that which it's like you've won it. that which has been acquired, you can actually remove it.
True.
And the power, just like you chose, ignorantly or knowledgeably, to indulge in it, the very same decisions, choices, and actions that you took to be where you are, there's a reversal system.
Okay.
And the starting point for this reversal system is your mind. First and foremost, we must appreciate the consequences that you've already suffered from this action. And trust me, just like you started, because there's a point in your life when you started it, and there was a point in your life that you didn't have it, you can go through that reversal system. And it's not difficult.
Okay.
It starts here. And probably that is something we can be able to help him later by sharing our contacts.
Right, so contacts zinakuja usijali brother, you'll be assisted. Dorica.
Yes.
Before we receive the phone calls, we're talking about parents who do not allow their children to be in the other blended family because they are paranoid that that family or the spouses in that family might end up hurting their children. How do you address such a situation?
I think that's a norm or a mentality that most people have, but apparently that's not the case. I have taken care. I have 3 boys and 1 girl. The girl is from my husband's side.
Yes.
And I really thank God for that, because I didn't have any other daughter. She's my only daughter.
Congrats.
And so, I mean, that's not the case. Let me just say, from my experience, that's not the case. I have brought up these children together. I've taken care of them together. They go to school together. I play my role as a mother and a wife in that house with those children together. And I mean, that's just a mentality that people have. That's not the case, and I've never had an incident where I've hurt my daughter because she's not my biological daughter. No.
Okay.
I think it's just a mentality, you know, ile tu kitu mtu amejiwekea kwa kichwa wanasemanga ati, oh, I'll tell you, when I was the fears that my parents had, they didn't have an issue me getting married to my husband, but the fears that they had sana traditionally, or the Kenyan way, because me I had a son, wanaogopanga wanasema, when you get married to the man, atapewa shamba wapi.
Okay.
Those are some of the fears they have, but that's not the case. I mean, you don't have to rely on your parents' shamba, the inheritance, you don't have to. You work hard and get your own. So, I mean, it's just a mentality thing.
Caro, sometimes even the kids are a problem, because now, especially if they're being poisoned by the other spouse, maybe if we're in a relationship and I come with my daughter, my wife will start, or rather my ex-wife might start telling the child, ebu and be careful, oh, mama wa kambo, akikupatia chakula usikule, ama usifanye nini, and then now she becomes rebellious to you. I mean, it happens.
I mean, it does happen, but then a lot of the times we are, as she's saying, there's this construct that we have that this is how the parents are, and so you walk into life with that idea, and the mind is very powerful. It will create for you that experience. So it's for you to look at your own experience and just be realistic. Let me tell you something. There are parents who are going through a lot of things with their own biological children. A lot of rebellion, a lot of drugs, a lot of all kinds of things with their own biological child. So they don't have the excuse of saying, it's because they are not my child. So you, who has come into a blended family, why do you want to make that an excuse? A child is just a child. So it's just in your mind, when you start creating meaning, and meaning is very powerful. When you start creating disempowering meaning to what you're going through, then your experience will become as pathetic as it can get. But if you start creating empowering meaning for what you're going through, just know this is a teenager. They need support at this time. They need guidance. They need a role model. They need mentorship. And don't bring in the meaning of, oh, it's because you're not my child. Otherwise, you'll just try, you'll get the experience you're looking for. Basically,
In a blended family, like you're now saying, your daughter, who's not your biological daughter, but you love her as much as you love your other kids, sometimes it gets to a part where you also need to, you know, punish her if she's on the wrong.
Yes, of course.
Does it for you? Does it just come naturally as a mom? Ama now you have to think, uyu nimpatie punishment gani? Because
no.
Fanya kitu then nianze kuambiwa oh.
No, I think for us we discussed from the word go. What happened is after our wedding is when now we brought in the children. My son was staying with my parents, and the daughter was staying with the mom. So all of them had done class 8. and we brought them together, and they started Form 1 together.
Okay.
So when we brought them together, we discussed about it, and we agreed that these are our children, and punishment has to be the same level. Everything has to be agreed together. She's a girl, she's growing, she's now a teenager, and she's growing. You know, adolescence is ndio inachezea hapo, so unajua. So there are some things that nitaona ametoka kidogo hajasema, amedisappear. Unajua lazima nitauliza. Of course nita raise alarm kwa babake, nitamwambia she's just gone out, kuna situation. So we discuss and we talk about it.
Kuna Kevin from Withiru. Good morning, Kevin. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine this morning.
Withiru najua kuna baridi. All right.
Now,
yeah.
You in the situation, I was dating a Luo. Now,
yeah. Where? He
has been to bring up to Kachana. 2 weeks later, akaniambia akona mimba yangu.
Okay.
Here's the catch. He told me if I'm not going back, ataboti mtoto.
Okay.
The drama akatakia sijui a lady mwenye alikuwa older, akasema ni mama yake, akaanza kunipigia simu, kuniblackmail nini. Nikamwambia, you know what, you just take care of the baby, you just get back, I'll take care of the baby. I have no issue.
Okay.
But when you put the situation here, I'll go back to you, so you gonna ball.
Yeah.
You see?
Okay.
Nikaambia madam mwenye alikuwa na pretend kujihamam.
Okay.
Sikumwacha juu ya mimba, nilimwacha kwa alinicheat, alafu leo nakaniambia kuna ball yangu. You see? Now in that dilemma, what should I do?
Okay. Sawa brother. Thank you very much. It sounds like Kevin is just wondering how this co-parenting is going to be, because he has said clearly, mimi si ati nilikuacha juu ya mimba, mimi nilikuacha tu juu ya vitu zingine. Probably, let me start with you, Caroline.
And there are people who, it just so happens, as I was saying, by the way,
uko na mimba.
And you know, sometimes you realize after mmeachana. You see some women realize they are pregnant even 3 months down the line. So 3 months down the line, you're calling somebody you parted ways, probably in a bad way. And you're like, hello? They're not even picking your calls.
Then eventually you text them.
Then you text them. At the ball. They're like, are you serious? It's 3 months since we parted ways. How is that my child even? You see? So him, at least he knew before they parted ways. But then let me tell you something. This thing about how we visualize and how we conceptualize relationship is so warped that we need to reconfigure the whole thing. Because how is a child involved in this? The child is innocent. You see, you need to learn to separate issues. You need to separate issues. You need to understand that you have to take 100% responsibility of your life and your actions. You see, so you took an action that clearly and very, out there, created a child. Now it's your responsibility to take care of that child, no matter what your relationship with the mother is.
Dorika.
Yes.
2 words for that gentleman. He's in that situation, 3 weeks down the line, niko na ball, anashanga.
One thing that has encouraged me about him is that he said openly that mimi sikumwacha kwa sababu ya ball. So it's kind of tricky, because if the lady communicated and then the worst thing is the lady aborted. So I think it's just a conscience, something to work about his conscience. Yes.
All right.
And I think there's something I can say about the lady. We like to manipulate people
because of pregnancy.
When it's like you're holding them by the throat. So I'm going to do this if you don't do this. It's like a kidnapping, a hostage situation.
Actually, it is a hostage situation.
And when this hostage decides, you shoot me, I'm walking out, then you're left powerless. You're like, okay, so what do I do? Next? And that's what she did. The hostage walked out and was like, shoot me in the back, I'm walking.
Come by.
You know, come by. And so she felt powerless, and she's trying now to. It's the control issue I was talking to you about.
All right. So very quickly, your contacts as a life coach, in case someone needs to reach out to you and get advice on this whole blended family thing, how do they get to you?
So you'll find me on www.dlc.co.ke. We give free sessions, so just come for your first free session.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you have a free session. Okay.
Amazing.
Mbogwa Mumbi, number yako inakwanga gani?
You can reach me on 0723 94 2929. Take it again, 0723 942929. You can watch a lot of my videos on YouTube, right? TV, as well as my website, www.mbogwamombi.co.ke.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Is there a first free session maybe somewhere there?
We can always, of course, we also give back to the society, personal social responsibility.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
I don't know, do you want to give out your number where you're just good being a private mom?
It's okay for those who want to contact
reach
me,
out.
that's fine, yeah. My number is 0722 598 320.
All right.
Dorica, yeah.
Thank you very much, Dorica. Thank you very much, Mbogwa. Always a pleasure to have you. Ninaona kuna watu wako na shida ya co-parenting. Maybe we need to have that conversation again. We already did it.
Co-parenting, yes.
Yeah, we already did it, but we can do it again.
Yes.
Caroline, a very good, always a pleasure to have you on set.
Thank you.
Asante na sana.
Thank you.
I am joined by my co-hosts here. Guys, did you learn anything about co-parenting, anything about blended families and
well, I do know people have issues. That's one thing I've learned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Akina Ibra kutoka Kirinyaga.
Yeah.
I like how they put it in the sense that don't use this as a hostage situation.
It's
true. At the end of the day, it's the kids who are going to bear the brunt of all of this.
All right.
What you guys did was on your own volition. So from there, the rightful thing for the children.
Yeah, and you remember even once upon a time, you actually did have Robert Burale here, and he says the problem is a lot of parents today use their children like AK-47.
True.
So you're using that as as weapons of mass destruction, literally, and that's absolutely wrong.
All right,
absolutely wrong.
Thank you very much for joining us on that particular conversation. We take a close here. Coming up next, we're gonna the Daily Brief, which is coming up actually in about 2 minutes. But we shall see you again tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 o'clock on Hangout Friday.
Yeah.
A lot of superstars, but they are going to be coming through. And you know how we do it in the kitchen.